forum. This is the second one in our three forum series. Tonight we have actually 2 candidate forums for you, so it's a double header, like we used to have at the movies. You used to get 2 movies for the price of 1. You get 2 candidate forums tonight for the price of 0. First up, we're going to have Montara Water and Sanitary District. We've got 3 candidates running for 2 positions. And the MCC is sponsoring these candidate forums in conjunction with the League of Women Voters, who are here to run the forum for us. We've got Karen Bertram is our moderator right there. We've got Shirley Robinson is our timekeeper. And we've got Betty Fleming is our usher back there. If you have a question, please fill out the card, raise your hand, and we'll come by and get it. Candidates, please watch Shirley right here. Make sure that she will give you the sign there. We've got limited time, so try to keep your answers concise. Watch the timekeeper there. I also want to let people know that this is being recorded by Pacific Coast Television. It will be rebroadcast at various times over the next couple of weeks. Please go to pctv.com and check that out. It's .com or .org, Steve? Yep. There you go. Yes, the answer is yes. You can go there and check out the video on that. I'd also just recommend that issues on the coast side that you check out the MCC website, midcoastcommunitycouncil.org. This is your best source for any kind of news and information, specifically source documents and minutes, things like that about happenings on the coast. Please go ahead and check that out. And I will now turn it over to Karen. Thank you very much, Karen.
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Karen Bertrand. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters, North and Central San Mateo County, and I'll be the moderator tonight. We thank our sponsors and we thank everyone for being here this evening. I would let you know that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization open to both men and women, and we encourage the informed, active participation of citizens in government. All candidates have been made aware of the rules in advance, but I'll briefly summarize for the audience. First, do please turn off your cell phones or turn down the ringers. Because this is a nonpartisan setting, no campaign literature or other material is allowed in the room. Questions will be submitted by the audience in writing and relayed to me by our usher. Please raise your hand if you need a pencil and paper or if you have a question ready for pickup. Since I will be reading and categorizing the questions by topic as I receive them, please try to write legibly and be concise and brief on your issue. If several questions are related to the same topic, I may combine them, so you might not hear your question read exactly as written. Questions of any personal nature will not be considered and will be deemed out of order. All candidates will have equal time to speak to the question, even if the question was addressed to only one candidate. And in the interest of time, please hold your applause till the end of the forum when we'll thank everyone at once. In this election, there are 3 candidates for 2 open seats for a term of 4 years. The candidates are Scott Boyd, Catherine Slater-Carter, and Thomas Gus Peterson. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening statement, then we'll move to the Q&A period where they have 1 minute to answer, and then we'll wrap up with closing statements, 2 minutes each. Shirley, again, will be our timekeeper. She will hold up signs so everyone knows where we stand. The candidates drew lots in advance to determine the order of opening statements. Again, candidates, 2 minutes for opening. Our first candidate to speak tonight is Catherine.
Thank you. Well, I want to start out by thanking the Mid-Coast Community Council. This is a long tradition. When I was on the council, we did it, and it is one of the more valuable ways for people to see these smaller, more local offices, which are of critical importance to your day-to-day life. The League of Women Voters has been fabulous in supporting the Mid-Coast Council in being able to do this, and it's a great team. And Pacific Coast TV makes it so we can all watch it later and rehear it. So it's a great triad and a good way to do this. My name is Catherine Slater-Carter. I am running for Montara Water and Sanitary District, and I am an incumbent. When I first ran, it was, and the reason I'm running still, is because of public health. The difference between a third world country and a first world country is clean water. The British Medical Society some years ago polled 11,000 of their members, and asked them what, dating back to about 1890 or before, the most important medical advance in the world had been. And the vast majority of them said clean water. Without a good functioning sewer system and a good water treatment system, we are a third world country. And it's our job as MWSD to do that. So I work on listening to the public and keeping the rates down so people can afford to live here. We have lots of folks who live in our community, who live in million-dollar houses, who are living on Social Security. We need to remember to keep things affordable for everyone while we're providing this clean water. Years ago, we bought the water system, we made it ours, we brought it home, and we continue to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And Gus?
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Thomas Gus Peterson. I go by Gus, it's my middle name. I too am running for the MWSD board seat. I come from a family that's been here since 1956 and was interested and actually critical in the formulation of some local utilities, the Thomases, owners of and starters of Thomas's Hardware in Oak Granada. And they were public servants, and as are my parents, or were recently retired. That is a tradition in the family that carries on, and I think is part of the reason why I'm here with you today. Also, I've been asked to run by colleagues and by a recent grand jury report to a certain extent. The people have been asked for a candidate or some fresh blood, and I apparently am that. And what to expect from me? My positions are generally to the left, as is usual around here, but I am a more moderate thinker, I think, in terms of this particular race. I have a history I'm a career drinking water engineer. That's what I do for a living. I formerly worked at the State Department of Public Health as a water regulator, and I now work in consulting. The real differences, I think, are that this particular race has some questions in the air right now with the current board as far as whether or not we should consolidate, whether or not we should be intertied, and I think we need to address those, and I'm for that intertie. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Scott.
Hi, well, thank you. First, thank you very much to the League of Women Voters. You've long been providing this service, and it's a great service to our community. Thank you to the Midcoast Council, likewise a center of political action and thought here on Midcoast 7. And it's volunteer efforts of civic-minded folks like you that help tie us together and help keep us informed and give us a voice in an unincorporated area where it's hard to have a voice. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. It is an encouragement to see you all here, and it's good to see so many familiar faces. Worked with many of you on many things before. My name is Scott Boyd. I serve on the Montara Water and Sanitary District Board and have for many years, and I got started by being pulled into this after working on the tunnel campaign, and somebody said, hey, this guy seems to want to do stuff, so they dragged me in and I volunteered and built the first website for any agency on the coastline, and that was for Montara Sanitary District at the time. Later, when something opened up, a seat opened up, I stood for that seat, won that seat, and have been serving ever since. And I serve out of a sense of civic duty. We live in an amazing place, in an amazing country, and it's a great place to work with people to get things done. And over many years, we've gotten quite a few things done. We've done some really remarkable things for the benefit of the sewer system. While we were just a sewer system, nobody really wanted to talk about that. But then when we went, and on behalf of the public went and obtained the water system and started repairing it, we became a much more interesting district, and lots more people wanted to be involved in that. So we've been doing wonderful things. Once we took the water system, we brought it back up to a first-rate water system. I want to talk about the consolidation point that Gus brought up, and I'll touch on that a little bit more later. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you so much. Okay, now it's time to move to the Q&A section. If you have a question for pickup, remember to raise your hand and the usher will get that up to me. Reminder again to the candidates, in this section you have just 1 minute to answer the question. And I will vary the order that I ask the questions.
Do we get a little bit of time to think about it? Or are we waiting for number one?
Not if you're the first one up. Okay. All right. So I'll pose the first question. Is it important for Montara to keep water local? And we'll start with Catherine.
Oh, first again. Yes, it is. We bought the system from a foreign utility and had no water. When it was a New Jersey utility and my kids were little, I remember the days when we had no water. We need to protect our water sources. We don't have outside water supply. We can't get it from San Francisco. However, we can always, as a matter of fact, I negotiated the emergency connection with with the water district to the south, CCWD, Coastside County Water District. I believe that there are ways to share water in times of need, but otherwise our water needs to be used and preserved for the people who bought it and paid for it.
Thank you. And Scott?
Sure. So we paid $19 million to buy the water system from the shareholder-owned corporation. In about $11 million of that was the purchase. The rest we've used to fix and bring the system back up to par. This community has a big investment in taking local ownership of our water. We've been owned before. We've been told that it was okay that we would be run from a distance. And yeah, they ran it all right into the ground. And we've spent years, now 12 years, repairing and bringing it back up. So when people talk about consolidation, they often talk about collaboration, cooperation. This is a topic I hope we get some more questions on. We, as a community, really have done a lot to make this water system our own. And it is not right to have other people who haven't paid for it come along and say we want your water.
Thank you. And Gus?
So I would say it is actually a human right. There's this question as to whether or not it's a human right for a person to have access to clean water. I would say yes, to a certain extent. I think most people have some positive opinion along those lines. But along those same lines, I think it's definitely to our best interest as humanity not to keep water exclusively local. Yes, we need to collaborate. Yes, we need to cooperate. But, for example, CCWD, which is having a meeting tonight, has more than they need. They're not going to steal our water. There is a moratorium on growth down there. There is a real need for real physical emergency connection to tie us together. We out here on the coast, from North Coast Water District all the way down to CCWD, are on our own, in together.
Thank you. So next question, we'll start with Scott. Do you support the consolidation? Can you tell us a little bit about advantages and disadvantages?
That's a great question. For years, and I mean going back quite a long time, in this binder I've got documents going back decades with the county's plan to force consolidation of the entire coastside into one coastside city. Not for any particularly good reason, other than that just seemed to make sense. They stuck with it. Over the years, as we've had these discussions at the Local Agency Formation Commission, where most of this happens, I have posed the question to many people, most of them in public office. What exactly are the benefits that you would see to bringing this into fruition as you imagine it? What kind of money would we be saving? What would we be getting in In over a decade of having these conversations, I have yet to have a single proponent bring forward a single number, not one single number of why we should do this. No, I don't support the consolidation. I can go on at much greater length anytime with anyone who wants to sit down, and feel free to examine the ideas and see if we can find things. And I've got my stop sign.
Thank you, and to Gus.
So, and not at this time would be my answer to whether or not I support consolidation. I think limited consolidation would be very positive. What I do support is an intertie, a physical emergency intertie that connects MWSD to another water supply, another water supply agency, be it to the north or the south, and then perhaps some consolidation maybe with GCSD, although apparently there's very little interest amongst the boards that govern these things. The advantages of interties are mostly numeric, but they're also, or financial, but they're also, to a certain extent, bureaucratic. And they protect agencies, they connect agencies. The EPA and the California Department of Public Health actually require that we try to maintain a consolidated system of water supply across the nation.
Thank you, and to Catherine.
Well, it's interesting what you mean by consolidation, because we're a sewer and water district, and we could consolidate sewer with, I guess, Granada Sanitary, and in fact, Half Moon Bay just passed a resolution wanting us to become combined with sewer all the way under Half Moon Bay's auspices. But we have our joint power agency, Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side, that covers all of the operations and benefits and gives us lots of benefits, and there's no real reason to change that. If you're talking about water, that would be another problem. In the LAFCO report in 2009, there was a small footnote that pointed out, we're talking about sewer still, that Half Moon Bay wasn't adequately funding its own sewer facilities. As far as consolidating with a solid intertie at $300 a foot, I think that, and that price is going up. I don't know that we've got the money to do it or want to do it. We have wells and we have water tanks. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a voter in the room who asks, if there is a consolidation, will we be compensated for the $18 million in bond money to keep our system? And we'll start with Gus.
That's a heady question. The nature of the board's financials and the district's financials are not wholly clear to me, I'm sorry. But I would say very likely not. The bond that has been repaid for with the unoccupied parcel taxes and thereafter with regular taxation of fee-based taxation will very likely have to continue, leading to continued high water rates. Our water rates are, I think, due to a recent analysis that I did in conjunction with some information I found on the internet. I never trust anything you find on the internet, except unless it's about water rates. We're in the 90th percentile or something in the Bay Area. That's pretty high for 30 agencies. So I don't see any relief coming. No.
Thank you. Catherine, same question.
Well, I would first tell Gus not to trust everything you read, or particularly everything you read on the internet.
Absolutely not.
Our financials are very open. We have audits every year. We have had successful audits every year. We have transparent financials. When I was treasurer, year before last, I think it was, I'm bad on years. In fact, we changed to a new accountant and reduced our accounting costs significantly, and our financials are available every month online and in our packets, and you can go back and look at them. We do not need to make other districts' problems ours, and the other district has financial problems. So it's not a good thing for us to even be working on this. It's my understanding we would keep the deck, and they would take our water.
Thank you. Scott?
Well, I think that's really novel. Give our water away to somebody else and not make them pay for it. I don't support that, obviously. It's a ridiculous plan on its face. And the notion that somehow someone's going to come along and extract the benefit of our investment. Well, we all understand why we want local control. And I don't think some of that's even worth discussing because on its face, it's so ridiculous. To the point about where we are on the water rates, this is from a presentation put together by our economist at the district who does understand financials. And this is public record. So last year, Montara Water is right about in here on the cost per customer. This isn't what you pay. This is what it costs to run the district, and the district is run at at net zero. So what it costs is what we all pay collectively. So we're here, and all these other local agencies are local, and this is Hillsborough, this is down in Purissima, Golden State down in Los Osos, way down south.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. We'll start with Scott. How would you, or can you, protect our water district from another district takeover?
So, I've been doing that for a long time. And I continue to do that. And a big part of how we do that is we collaborate with our neighbors, the Cosi County Water District, at Granada, GCSD, Granada, City Half Moon Bay, our work together at the Sewer Authority Mid-Coast side. Right now, I'm one of the leaders in the effort to get recycled water that's going to benefit mostly directly the City of Half Moon Bay, but we're working very closely with all of our partners there, including CCWD. When we work together, we get a whole lot of benefits together. As we're able to facilitate those kinds of things, the push for consolidation falls away because people are getting what they need without needing to come in and rapaciously take over our system to try to get what we have.
Thank you. Gus?
I think the idea of water system takeover is actually kind of silly. It's rare that any water system would be taken over. In my experience, which encompasses all of the water districts in the Sacramento area for the years between 2005 and 2010, which numbers somewhere around 200, not to mention anything that I might have heard of through the grapevine. There was not one water system that was either avaricious enough or in any danger of losing its or gaining someone else's water district. There is a potential if the water district were to fall out of favor with the EPA to a certain extent to where it would become forced into remittance or unable to properly operate itself any longer, then yes, it might then be acquired by another water district.
Thank you. Catherine?
Gus, we're not in the Central Valley. We're on the coast. And the water district to the south is first in, first out on Hetch Hetchy water supplies, which means in the event of a major break, they can lose their water. Yes, I have heard them say they want to take us over. No, it's not silly. This is a long history. The way to stop it is to elect the right people. If we have two members on the board who ran on the code word of cooperation 2 years ago, but they had told several of us ahead of time that they wanted consolidation. All it takes is 3 votes. If we get those 3 votes by having 3 people on the board who want consolidation, then those of us who do not want consolidation under LAFCO have 30 days to go door to door to collect enough signatures to stop this. So the easiest way is to vote for me and Scott.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. I'm unfamiliar with this, so bear with me. What is your position on MWSD adding Parks Authority? And we'll start with Gus.
So Catherine has a copy of the 2015 strategic plan here, which is one of the lovely documents produced by MWSD. Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
In that document, there is a list of priorities that I think about 70 members of the public voiced their opinions on and collaborated to assemble. Parks was number 2, I believe, after not consolidated, I think, which is interesting. Now, whether or not I'm all for the way that was done, well, I don't know, I wasn't there. But parks are definitely something that people are interested in, and that's actually, oddly enough, one of the benefits of, say, forming a consolidation with GCSD or becoming a CSD. You would have the power to have parks. You would have the organizational structure that allows that and that is comfortable with that and that provides those services.
Thank you. And Catherine?
Again, Gus, notices were mailed and we put up posters to get as many people in the community to that as we possibly could. Because it was important as our district met the needs that we had promised under the bond for us to hear from the community about where to go forward. Montara and Moss Beach are can-do and let's-do-it communities, and the county doesn't do it for us. So they look to their only local government to do things that the county is neglecting to do. Under water code, we don't need Parks Authority, I believe. If we are doing recreational uses combined with our water supplies, our water system. And in fact, that's why I have been working for 25 years, something like that, I lose track of time, to get the old Caltrans right-of-way that goes through the back of Montara for open space, for trails, and for water supply, so we have our forever water supply.
Thank you. And Scott?
Yeah, I want to reinforce that. We've been very deliberate about outreach to the community. Having 70 people come spend several hours with us to talk about what the community wants to see out of MWSD was outstanding. And I was there, it was very exciting, and I was super happy to see that the number one thing, everybody got little green stickers. I think they got 3, and they put them on the top 3 things they wanted. And everything that people had talked to had a sheet, and the ones about complaints and maybe we ought to go away got no stickers at all at the end of this, even from the people who brought those topics up. And no consolidation was number 1, and number 2 was explore parks powers. If you hit our website, you can see a little bit of information about the old Martini bypass lands. We've done test drilling on there to find water. We've demonstrated that it's there. We're in conversation now with Caltrans. The Board of Supervisors has voted 5-0 requesting that Caltrans give us the land so we can protect the watershed, develop the water, and get some light recreation on that. We're already doing light recreation on the trail up past the Alta Vista water tank that was just recently opened. So park powers, yes.
Thank you. This next question will go to Catherine. It's regarding finances. What is the biggest financial issue facing the district in the next 10 years?
Ooh, that's a tough one. If we get the Caltrans right-of-way, we will have to find ways to fund it and management, and that would probably be the biggest. Otherwise, we're on very solid financial footing. We have been raising our rates in line with inflation for the last several years because we have the ability to pay our bills and make the improvements that we need. I think that's the real key for us, is for the community to let us know what we need, where you want us to go with this Caltrans right-of-way. Because we can put wells, but wells are expensive. But getting it and protecting our water supply is definitely the key part of the equation here. But we are building our reserves, so I don't see that we have any major financial disasters coming in the next 10 years.
Thank you. And to Scott?
Well, I think what most people think of first off is what's happening with rates. I just want to show you what we've done with rates, water rates for us. We started out high when we acquired the system because that's what the shareholder-owned utility had gotten away with. But what we did was we were running the risk of doubling or tripling those over a period of about five or so years. We brought those down to the rate of inflation, as Catherine said, and what you see with CCWD is they continue to go up. Last year, they jumped 24% on their water rates, while we went up 4%. I think in terms of major interesting financial challenge, as technology evolves, as the requirements, thank you, as the requirements for improving what we're doing with our sewage treatment increases, we've got to evolve with the technologies. Right now, we're facing some real challenges trying to get financing for the recycled water. With some work, we're getting there, and I think we're going to want to do more of that, and that's going to provide an interesting avenue for us to try to wisely spend some money to do that.
Thank you, and Gus.
I think the real question is whether we're going to spend our money on growth and new wells in the Martini bypass, or whether we're going to spend it on something a little more useful in the long run, like a emergency intertie or participation in an emergency intertie with North Coast Water District or CCWD. I know this is a no-growth ward by reputation. The thing is, we don't really need more water than we have. We just don't have that much, which is why it seems like a big deal. We have enough, and that's fine. I worry that we have a massive amount of debt. We have very high water rates. We have people complaining about that, to me in any case. And, what we're going to do with what money we have is going to make a big difference.
Thank you. We have a kind of an abbreviated amount of time this evening, so that would be the last question before moving to closing statements. So I'll take this time to make a couple announcements while you gather your thoughts. I would like to thank everyone for coming tonight. Remember that you can find additional information about all the candidates for office and candidates throughout the county on the league-sponsored Voters Edge website. That's votersedge.org. Also, membership in the league is open to men and women of voting age. If you're interested in helping with forums like this, voter registration drives, ballot measure pros and cons, please see some membership brochures in the back of the room or call our office at 650-342-5853. Lastly, a reminder to vote on November 8th. If you vote by mail, please be sure to complete and mail your ballot on time, or complete your ballot at home and go to any precinct on election day and just drop it in the ballot box. I would add that California law does allow you to vote during the 29 days prior to an election, which means October 11th this year. So you can vote at 40 Tower Road, San Mateo at the elections office, 555 County Center at the County Clerk Recorder office, or at 840 West Orange Avenue in the South San Francisco Library, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, as well as Saturday, November 29th and Saturday, November 5th from 10 to 3. More information can be found out about these details at the county election site, shapethefuture.org. Now for closing remarks. Closing remarks, we will again give each candidate 2 full minutes. Timekeeper will remind you when you have 30 seconds left and when you need to stop. We're going to go in the reverse order from opening statements. So that means that we will start with Scott.
Thank you. When I would prefer that we talk about things that we really want to do with the agency. We've done so much. This community has supported just an extraordinary amount of good work that really benefits the people here. But with having our opponent here, we've got a discussion about, do we go from 2 votes for consolidation with CCWD to 3? That's really what it's coming down to. CCWD has a long-standing interest, has made very clear statements to the local agency formation commission, has had meetings where they talk about, we do this through consolidation or some other things, but their current stated plan of record is consolidation with Montara. That's just the fact. You might want to ask yourself, why would somebody want to really push hard on that? And what are the interests that lead to that? I'll tell you this. I've worked really hard for this community and just for this community and had the delight of working in collaboration with others in other communities so together we can do good things for our respective constituents. I believe we've got the record, we've got the accomplishments, we've made the promises about getting to where we fix the system, to where we lift the moratorium. We kept those promises. We've done the diligence, we've put in the time, and the community knows who we are. Now it's a question of, does the community want to keep what we've built, or do we want to hand it off to someone else? So, my name is Scott Boyd, and I hope you'll vote for me. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll go to Gus for closing.
So, I think, first of all, I should not go out on a limb in any way whatsoever by saying thank you to both Catherine and Scott and all the members of the past members of the board who've done great work in acquiring the water system and repairing it for the community. That was a monumental challenge, and it took a lot of gumption. I wasn't living here at the time that this occurred, but I know that I have definitely reaped the benefits. I drink the water now without concern, and we no longer use percolator to make coffee. The fact of the matter is, though, I'm not here for consolidation. I'm here for, I think, to put it real bluntly, law-abidingness. I'm here for cooperation, even though it's been called a talking point. I'm here because we've been asked for new representation. And I can't say that I represent anything that is too far afield from what we've already got going. I did say I'm only somewhat for consolidation. You know, the key thing is I'm running, and the reasons I'm running are there for you to choose if you so choose. So, you know, I like the idea of being secure. You know, I like the idea of going along with the LAFCO requests of the last 2 or 3 reports, going along with the grand jury requests. These are legal matters. These are not criminal legal matters or even binding legal matters, but they are certainly important nonetheless. So once again, I thank you for your time, and hope you'll consider voting for me. I'd be honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Lastly, Catherine.
Thank you. You can't be partly for consolidation. It's kind of like being partly pregnant. You either are or you're not. It's a slippery slope with an intertie. It would then give ammunition to LAFCO, and the grand jury is solely advisory, and LAFCO has a way around it. In fact, as Scott mentions, Coastside County Water District has been very upfront about wanting to consolidate, and in the Recycled Water Committee meetings, they've been talking about wanting us to pay for a high-end recycled water plant so they could do toilet to tap. It's got a fancier name now, but they're planning for having no water in the future. Scott and I are endorsed by the Montara Moss Beach Water Improvement Association and have been endorsed by them every time we've run. They are the group that got the sanitary district, the powers of a water district. We are endorsed by the Sierra Club. We're endorsed by the Coastside Dems. We are endorsed by Senator Hill. We are endorsed by Supervisor Horsley and Supervisor Pine. I can go on. April Vargas, Gail Erickson. 4 of the 5 members of the Granada Sanitary District, those would be the 4 who don't want consolidation. The 5th one has argued at length for consolidation. We're endorsed by Mike Pingona on the Daly City Council and candidate for the Board of Supervisors, David Baruto, the San Mateo County Democrat Central Committee. So we have a lot of folks who know our good work and stand behind us and recommend us. Again, we are And you can't say we're no growth when you look around at all the new housing going in. Scott and I work to end the moratorium. We are unfortunately enabling growth in some areas we wish we weren't.
Thank you so much. Well, that concludes the candidate forum for Montara Water and Sewer District.
Sanitary.
Sorry, Sanitary District, thank you so much. No, thank you so much, thank you. And please join me in a round of applause for our sponsors, Mid-Coast Community Council, and for the candidates, and thank you, audience, for coming.
I'd like to add one thing. There are copies of the Easy Voter in the back table that it's information about the propositions on the ballot. It's and if you want more detailed in terms of finding, if you go to League of Women Voters website, there's a much more detailed pros and cons on propositions. Please take a copy.